Hello, my darling starshines. This is Christina with Lightbody Therapeutics and lightbodyinc.com. I'm making this video today to talk about the black goo, woohoo, and also known as nanite technology. It's a form of nanite technology. There's many different forms, and this is one of them. And I like to call it the BG substance. So I first came across the BG substance when I was we were leaving the city coming home from dinner, and I was passenger in the car, and I noticed these really odd cloud formations. And as we approached the town that we live in, what became more apparent were this really intense pattern of crisscrossing of chemtrails. And it was a tight lattice work, and it felt off. We have a lot of chemtrails around here, but these felt very different for some reason. I didn't really have, I didn't have a clear understanding. Oh, this is the thing. It was like I had to go into it and discover it as I cleared things away. So what I did, I felt compelled to just cloud bust the chemtrails, just to dissipate them. And just a side note, if you guys aren't aware, it is totally possible to dissipate chemtrails. They don't have to stick around like they do, when they come across in the morning and they're still there in the afternoon. They do not need to linger that long. They can actually be dispersed. The energy and the particle spread can be dispersed and not, especially when they're X's. I do this when I see a lot of X's. Anyway. So, and to continue on this tangent just a little bit, I first learned about cloud busting in massage therapy school, of all places. I had a shiatsu teacher that was explaining on how to move your chi through your thumbs into energy meridians of the body. And then she explained a story that her master teacher taught her. She was a well-known healer in Hawaii that taught her about cloud busting. And the first time she attempted it, she was unsuccessful because she didn't believe it. She didn't believe you could do it. And it wasn't until her teacher did it, and then seeing was believing for her, and then she was able to do it. So when she told the story in class, I decided to play with the cloud busting, and I've really been playing with it ever since. It's been many years since then. And I've applied those principles to chemtrails. When I was in Sedona working with different vortexes and telluric realm beings, they dispersed chemtrails really quickly. So they just showed me a way to modify the technique I was already aware of to disperse the chemtrails. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. But this is refocusing on the black goo. So there was this real intense formation of lattice work of chemtrails on our way home, and it was directly over our neighborhood. So I was compelled to cloud bust the chemtrails, and I did that. And as the actual the white part of the chemtrails dispersed, what was left was a strange black residue that was still in the shape, that lattice shape of where those chemtrails were. And as soon as I tuned into that black residue, I was struck with a tremendous feeling of helplessness, powerlessness, and fear. And I thought this was really odd. It was very, very odd because I hadn't tried yet to disperse the residue substance that I saw, but yet that energy was upon me. So I immediately recognized this emotional body program that was being projected by this goo, by the BG substance. So that was my very first experience with the BG substance. As time went by, a couple days later, I ended up having clients present that were affected by this BG substance. Now, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't discover most of these clients, I did not discover it until towards the end of the session that the BG substance was behind some of their chronic conditions that they have been suffering from. I work a lot with chronic conditions that are kind of considered uncurable, like that. And and where I was taken in the tracking of these beings was the actual consciousness behind the technology, the nanite technology that is this BG substance. And that is really where the adventure got very, very interesting, because I just said it out loud, the things I was discovering. And the one of my clients was like, "Oh, I know what this is." And they continued to explain to me the all the different theories about the black goo and the Morgellon fibers, so on and so forth. So so she was able to confirm for me that this was actually an experience that many people are having and are talking about. So so that was eye-opening for me. And then later on, fast forward, some time goes by. I'm still doing my work. I'm still, dissipating and I would say canceling out frequencies with that, because at the time I really didn't know. I didn't really understand how to eradicate it all the way. I just knew how to neutralize it so they could not replicate anymore, and remove the energy source that they use to perpetuate. Okay, so that's how I was dealing with it. But then recently, a representative from the insectoid kingdom, one of the many insectoid kingdoms, presented, and they showed me the planet that the BG substance was coming from, the demonic doorways that it was passing through, and the places, interdimensional realms, accessible only by the telluric, from the telluric realm, are being toxified with the substance. Now, let me explain a little bit about the telluric realm. All right, here is the iron crystal core in the center of the earth. This is the actual heart and mind of the planet, okay? And then you have the crust of the planet. This is 3D reality right here. Everything between this 3D reality and the iron crystal core is considered the telluric realm. And the telluric realm has many dimensions and other realms within it as well, okay? Just like 3D does. 3D has, we have cities, we have mountains, we have caves, we have interdimensional doorways, and so on and so forth, accessible only in the 3D realm. And the telluric realm is similar. There are cities, there are tunnels, there are caves, there's interdimensional portals, okay, of the telluric realm. And so they're showing me how that was being toxified. And they're actually also indicating to me how so much of the substance has built up in these interdimensional realms that it was actually hindering the acceleration and frequencies of the planet. Okay. And I was like, whoa, this is new. Okay. And what I mean by frequency, so say the base frequency wave of this planet is like this. Okay. So 2 waves happen and until I hit this threshold right here. And all of life is built on that frequency wave, okay? And now this planet has chosen acceleration, and because we're a species living on this planet that is in acceleration, we're going to accelerate as well. That means all life, or hold on a second. So that means this wave right here that all life is built upon, okay? Instead of being 2, it's going to be, it's working its way towards this. Okay? Many more waves happen. Many more frequencies happen before it reaches this horizon, this threshold right here. And that means all of life is going to change its structures, okay, to be on that frequency, and on this wave, rather than this wave. Okay, and what they were showing me is that so much of this BG substance has accumulated in the interdimensional realms. It was toxifying the telluric realms, and that it was starting to create a drag on the frequency acceleration. Now, the acceleration of this planet is an absolute reality, because our planet has chosen this. So there's no way to stop it, but there are being still trying to, and actually that's falling away too. They're losing a lot of strength as well. The whole dark force polarity stuff is really gotten a lot weaker. Though people may be seeing the dark forces and demonic realms much more easily now because all the veils are lifted and it's more in people's awarenesses, but it's actually much weaker than it used to be, and most of the structures are in their final days of collapse. Okay, so so I just want to describe some characteristics of the black goo BG substance. Number one, it is very broad in its spectrum from which it can be observed. Okay, and as I mentioned in my story, the frequency of helplessness, powerlessness, and fear is one of the emotional body programs it emits. So anything that comes in contact with, that is the emotional frequency that's being exposed to. All right. Now, unless you are really solid in the axis of who you are at a multidimensional level and your emotional body is clear, you are going to be caught in that emotional body program. Okay. And this is because most of humanity, their capacity to perceive is within a spectrum like this. Okay. And within the spectrum, if you engage the BG substance, right, then you will absolutely get caught. There's no perspective within the spectrum that shows you how to lay claim and eradicate the BG substance frequencies. Okay, but if you are able to expand your awarenesses to like this, okay, then you have access to ways to mitigate the BG substance and even eradicate it completely. But it has an emotional component that anchors it into the physicality, okay, and that an emotional component that affects the telluric realm consciousness, beings that live within the telluric realm, okay. So it's really important to have that understanding. It's not unusual for people to experience this substance and just be completely overwhelmed with helplessness, not knowing what to do. Okay, and they shut down in the face of this fear of this feeling of fear. But I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely possible to eradicate the BG substance from not only the telluric realm but your physicality and your environment. Just like people aren't aware of how to cloud bust the chemtrails. People aren't aware on how to eradicate the frequency of this extraterrestrial technology. Now, this extraterrestrial technology is coming from a parallel reality, maybe you can call it, it's coming from an alternate universe that is built upon a different set of rules. It has a much different harmonic than our universe that we live in. Our universe that we live in has particular laws of creation that follow a spectral harmonic of expansion, okay? And this has been explored, the surface of this has been explored and expressed by Plato when he put his theory forward of the Platonic solids. All of matter stems from one of those shapes, okay? So because this BG substance does not belong in the harmonic of our reality, there is a way to drive it out, okay? There is a way to drive it out by amplifying our own harmonic, but you have to have full spectrum access to the harmonic. You can't just have access to this. You really need to have an aspect on a fuller scale to have the personal power to eradicate their harmonic from ours. And because we're humans are they are designated by the cosmic law, so to speak, to be the caretakers of 3D. Okay, yes, I know we're doing an awful job, but nonetheless, we are the ones in charge with taking care of the 3D, making sure that it doesn't get destroyed, making sure that it's still made available for infinite beings to have incarnational experiences within. Okay. And there are many other consciousnesses that share this 3D experience. Now, they don't necessarily have bodies. They don't necessarily look like us. They can phase in and out of realms of frequencies where they're not primarily engaged with their awareness in 3D. Okay. And I like to call these beings meta-consciousness because they have awarenesses far beyond the human experiences, and they do not have any of the limitations that we do, because we're a dumbed down species. We're a species whose DNA was squashed and limited. Okay, and this is actually how the BG substance is able to really take hold within beings, that they perpetuate that program, that root program that was the original program to shut off DNA frequencies, to shut off certain aspects of the human potential. So before I get into the meta consciousness, I think I'm going to put that in a separate video, because this is a really important piece of to how to resolve, how to eradicate the BG substance from our realms. But we as humanity are the caretakers, and because we are the caretakers, we have meta consciousness beings that are here, that are making themselves available to us to work with us as a team to eradicate these frequencies. Okay, so it's up to us to clean up the 3D harmonics. It's up to the human species. So if we're not going to do it, no one is, and there will be the collapse of 3D. Okay, until it's born again in another way. So there's many beings that have an investment in our reality, and they're here to help us as a teammate. But you cannot approach them as being powerless. You have to be on the same playing field. It's like you are a being with all these gifts and superpowers. They are a being with all these gifts and superpowers, and together you guys are working as a team to eradicate the BG substance from all of those from the interdimensional realms that are affecting us in the here and now in these physicalities in our environment. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm going to make a part 2 talking about how to engage with these meta beings and the kinds of dynamics this involves to successfully eradicate the BG substance. My name is Christina with Lightbody Therapeutics and lightbodyinc.com. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this helpful, please comment, like, share this video. And if there's any questions, I will definitely keep tabs on the comments and answer them as they present. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.